Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Saturday, August 31st. Over the next few days, we will see moisture pushing back up from the south. So today we will see some isolated thunderstorms over parts of southern areas of the Great Basin and into maybe central Nevada. Could see a few late day developments of isolated thunderstorms along the southern Sierra front. Sunday, the moisture pushes further north up into northeast Nevada, and by Monday looks to be our day of most lightning coverage, anywhere from northern and northeast Nevada up into Idaho and then across Utah. These thunderstorms will transition to more of a mix of wet and dry, but still we are expecting increasing lightning coverage, especially by Monday. So we will see certainly more initial attack in Utah again, going through the next few days, and then up in Idaho and northern Nevada. These thunderstorms will start on the drier side, though, today and tomorrow, and again, still be more on the isolated side. Otherwise, temperatures remain warm with drier conditions in many areas until the moisture arrives. Looking at the last 24 hours, we haven't really seen any thunderstorms in the Great Basin with the exception of bordering the Arizona area. Otherwise, our Great Basin fire activity was light yesterday with only 8 new fires reported for just over 16 acres, and you can see from the red dots where those new starts were scattered. Over the last 14 days, we've continued to see precipitation just mainly over the eastern half of the geographic area, still many drier areas in Nevada and up into southwest and central Idaho over the last 2 weeks. ERCs show this well with the lower ERCs in parts of Utah, although ERCs have been on the rise with the drier weather recently in northern and western Utah, and then kind of a mixed bag of conditions up into Nevada with still some critical areas in the north and west, and even down in the Spring Mountains, much drier than what we would normally see this time of year, so still some critical areas there, and then up into, of course, southern and central Idaho, where we have most of our large fire activity. Looking at our ERC charts, you can see in areas where lightning will start returning today and tomorrow over parts of southern and eastern Nevada, ERCs are above normal, in some areas above the 80th percentile and will likely remain fairly steady, so definitely higher than normal for the time of year. And along the Sierra front, where we'll start seeing some winds, especially going into the Monday timeframe, ERCs are also above normal. The satellite image from this morning shows a strong ridge dominating the west, and you can see from the cloud cover that moisture pushing north into southern Nevada and southwest Utah and the Arizona Strip today, which will be the focus of most of our thunderstorm activity. And this area of low pressure off the west coast will certainly be a player going into the Sunday-Monday timeframe. As this low pushes further east, it will help push that moisture north into northern Nevada and up into Idaho eventually by Monday, and also will be increasing our winds in areas over the western half of the Great Basin going into early in the week. Looking at our smoke conditions, we will continue to see significant smoke over especially Idaho and then even down into northern Utah and northeast Nevada, and also at times over western Nevada from fires in California. Looking at the weather pattern for later today, again with that ridge in place and that moisture moving up from the south, you can see a little bit more moisture heading towards the Arizona Strip. So we will see thunderstorms down south, but probably be some wetting rains with those down in the Arizona Strip. It's the areas as we get further north where the moisture will be enough for some isolated thunderstorms, but the deeper moisture really doesn't push north. So still expecting those drier storms in parts of southern Nevada, especially in the higher terrain, and then possibly up into central Nevada in that higher terrain as well. Relative humidity, we'll see a lot of teens and single digits across the Great Basin. So very dry conditions before that moisture arrives. Even in the far south where that moisture is moving in, we're only seeing RHs in the teens. So again, no really deep monsoon moisture impacting the Great Basin. You can see on the wind gusts, light winds with the exception of those gusty outflow winds, which are depicted here. So again, you could see a few late day strikes on the Sierra front or even some gusty outflow winds out of some high base showers, and then also into central and southern Nevada and southwest Utah. Looking at temperatures, we will see very warm conditions with highs in the low to mid 90s over much of western and northern areas of the Great Basin and the lower elevations, and 104 down for Vegas. The thunderstorms on the right, you can see still very isolated with the exception of the Arizona Strip where we could see a little bit more moisture, but again, very isolated into Nevada and southwest Utah today. As we move into Sunday and this area of low pressure gets a little bit closer to the west coast, that will help push that moisture into northeast Nevada, so we do have some high risk for parts of the eastern side of the state. Again, looking to be isolated, but more on the drier side with no real significant moisture. Winds will start increasing along the Sierra front, but most of those winds on Sunday will remain into California, Can't rule out maybe an hour or so of some critical winds and RH combinations along the Sierra front, but for the most part, the big day is Monday. Looking at the relative humidity, a little bit of modification of RH in the south as that moisture moves north and up into eastern Nevada, but still looking at RHs in the low to mid-teens, so still very dry, a lot more single digits or near 10% for Idaho into northern Nevada, so definitely a very dry air mass in place for our central Idaho fires for the next couple of days. The winds, again, generally light. You can start to see them begin to pick up, mostly in California, but also kind of skirting the Sierra front on Sunday. So again, most of those winds will be to the west. And then you can see the potential for gusty outflow winds. With these dry air masses, that's really when the gusty outflow winds are most significant before the lower levels moisten up. So definitely that potential in northern and northeast Nevada heading up into Idaho. On Sunday, we'll still see a very hot temperatures. This is probably our warmest day with, again, highs mostly in the mid 90s. Could even see some upper 90s up in Idaho. Thunderstorms, the moisture does spread north, so more isolated activity for central and eastern Nevada. Again, very limited moisture and very spotty, so not expecting any significant increases in moisture. Monday will definitely be our most active day as that trough moves into Northern California. Winds will increase significantly across Nevada. So we do have a large area of high risk for that combination of wind and low relative humidity. Also over any part of central and eastern Nevada, this wind will be following any isolated lightning strikes we see today or tomorrow. So we could see some holdovers in some of these higher elevation areas in Nevada. Otherwise, lightning really pushes north into Idaho and northern Utah. We'll definitely see a lot more lightning coverage. Again, most of our central Idaho fires will experience at least the possibility of thunderstorms, if not gusty outflow winds. The Payette may not see quite as much activity. A lot of that's going to be off to the east, but could see some gusty outflow winds up there as well. Relative humidity does start to moderate as that moisture spreads north. So we will have RHs in Idaho increase to the upper teens or low 20s. However, we will see a lot more lightning coverage, so that's certainly problematic for our existing incidents and any new starts. And then you can see it down in western Nevada, still on the dry side, and that's where our strongest winds will be. These gusts here are in the upper 30s, maybe around 40 miles per hour. Could even see some gusts over 40 miles per hour in the higher elevations of the Sierra front. Otherwise, those gusty outflow winds will still be around with some of those thunderstorms in Idaho, northeast Nevada, and northern Utah. Temperatures will drop a couple degrees as that trough moves in and the moisture spreads north, so more kind of low 90s. And then the thunderstorm potential, you can see that moisture as it spreads north. We will see some areas get maybe low-end wetting rains in parts of Idaho, but again, pretty spotty, and it's really the increase in lightning coverage with the gusty outflow winds that's most significant. 3-day precipitation, you can see again, very spotty. Could see some areas up in Idaho that do see some wetting rains with these thunderstorms, but for the most part, it will be a pretty spotty and hit or miss. And then going into Tuesday, that low tracks further north up into central Idaho, so we will see an increase in relative humidity on Tuesday. Still lightning expected for central and eastern Idaho, Wyoming, even down into northern Utah. And looks like Tuesday will be the main day for the Payette with at least the possibility of thunderstorms, but those RHs will be increasing in most areas in central Idaho. We'll see RHs above 25 or 30%. So again, we are seeing that decrease in fire potential, but we will have had quite a bit of lightning on Monday, so still expecting some fires to be popping up at least for initial attack. Otherwise, drier air spreads across the area again going into midweek, so we are seeing some drying on our significant fire potential map, but no high risk as winds will be decreasing and also moisture will be on the decrease. We could see more moisture as we get late in the week again, so another increase over parts of central areas of the Great Basin. So we'll continue to watch that. Otherwise, no high risk at the present time. 7-day precip really doesn't look a whole lot different than the 3-day. Again, could see some of that wetting rain with this system Monday, Tuesday up in central and eastern Idaho and Wyoming. Otherwise, the 8 to 14-day outlook still shows warmer temperatures for the west, maybe some above normal potential in the northwest, but really for the Great Basin, still staying either on the drier side, or we will have periods of moisture moving in, as you saw from looking at the maps early this week and then again later in the week. So we're not expecting a significantly dry period, at least not a prolonged dry period for all areas. We will see kind of slight chances of moisture moving in at times. That concludes the webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.